I sat across from May in that quiet cafe on the outskirts of Chiang Mai, watching her smile at me with those practiced, sympathetic eyes, the same eyes that had looked at me with what I'd believed was love just months before. She reached across the table and touched my hand gently, her voice soft and apologetic. "Eddie, I know I hurt you. I was confused, scared, but I want to try again. I think we can make this work." I nodded slowly, returning her smile. In my pocket, my phone was recording every word. In my briefcase beside me sat 43 pages of documented evidence, bank transfers, fake invoices, investigator reports, screenshots of her real social media accounts showing her actual husband and children. The same children she'd told me didn't exist. The same husband she'd claimed had died in a motorcycle accident. She thought I'd come here broken and desperate, willing to forgive anything just to have her back. She thought the gentle, quiet American engineer was an easy mark who'd been too embarrassed to fight back. She thought wrong. "I've missed you," she said, squeezing my hand. "Can we start over?" "Actually, May," I said quietly, pulling my hand back and placing a manila envelope on the table between us. "I think we need to talk about the truth first. All of it." The smile froze on her face as she stared at the envelope, and in that moment, I saw the exact second she realized her mistake. If you've been enjoying the stories I create, please consider hitting the subscribe button. Your support is crucial for the growth of this channel and helps me dedicate time to making these videos despite my commitment to a full-time job. Thank you for being here. My name is Edward Langston, though most people call me Eddie. I'm 62 years old, American, from Portland, Oregon, and for 38 years, I worked as a marine engineer. It's not a glamorous profession. Most people don't even know what it means. I designed and maintained propulsion systems for commercial vessels, cargo ships, tankers, the occasional research vessel, technical work that required precision, patience, and the ability to solve complex problems methodically. I was good at it, very good. My career took me all over the world: Singapore, Rotterdam, Dubai, Cape Town. I spent months at sea, months in foreign ports, always moving, always working. It was a solitary life in many ways, but I liked the rhythm of it, the clarity of engineering problems, the satisfaction of systems running smoothly. I met my wife Catherine in my early 30s, during one of my rare extended stays in Portland. She was a librarian, quiet and thoughtful like me. We understood each other's need for silence, for order, for routines. We married after a 2-year courtship and spent 24 years together. We never had children, partly by choice, partly by circumstance. It was just the two of us, and that felt complete. Catherine died 5 years ago. Pancreatic cancer. Diagnosed in April, gone by September. The speed of it was merciful in some ways, brutal in others. I barely had time to process what was happening before she was gone, leaving me alone in our small house in Portland with her books still on the shelves and her coffee mug still in the dish rack. I tried to keep working after she died, but my heart wasn't in it anymore. Every project felt hollow. Every problem I solved felt meaningless without her to come home to. At 60, with a solid pension and $420,000 in savings, I decided to retire early. The house felt too empty. Portland felt too gray. Everything reminded me of Catherine, the coffee shop where we'd had our first date, the park where we used to walk on Sunday mornings, the library where she'd worked for 23 years. I needed distance. I needed something completely different. I'd been to Thailand twice before on work assignments, once to Laem Chabang Port, once to Bangkok for a maritime conference. I remembered it as warm, vibrant, affordable, a place where my savings could stretch further, and where I could disappear into anonymity. No one knew me there. No one would look at me and see the widower, the grieving husband, the man who couldn't move forward. In December, I sold most of my belongings, rented out the Portland house to a young couple, and bought a one-way ticket to Thailand. My brother Marcus thought I was having some kind of breakdown. My few close friends worried I was running away. Maybe I was, but I needed to be somewhere where the past wasn't pressed into every street corner. I arrived in Bangkok in January and spent a week getting oriented before heading north to Chiang Mai. I'd read that Chiang Mai was popular with retirees' cooler climate than Bangkok. Beautiful temples, vibrant expat community. It seemed like a good place to start over. Or at least a good place to exist quietly while I figured out how to be alive without Catherine. I found a small 2-bedroom house to rent in the Mae Rim area, north of the city center. 15,000 baht per month, about $450. It had a garden, high ceilings, and a view of the mountains. It was peaceful, simple, exactly what I needed. For the first few months, I established a routine. Morning walks through the neighborhood, breakfast at a local cafe, afternoons reading or working on small woodworking projects in my garage, evenings at one of the expat restaurants, eating dinner alone while watching the world pass by. I made a few acquaintances, other retirees mostly, but no real friends. I preferred it that way. I wasn't ready for connection yet. But loneliness is a patient predator. It doesn't attack all at once. It waits until you've convinced yourself you're fine alone, and then it reminds you what you've lost. By June, 6 months into my new life in Thailand, the silence of my rented house had become suffocating. I'd wake up in the morning with no one to talk to. I'd eat dinner with no one to share it with. I'd go to bed each night acutely aware that the other side of the bed would stay empty forever. I wasn't looking for a new wife. I wasn't looking to replace Catherine. I just wanted someone to talk to, someone who might understand what it felt like to be lonely in a foreign country, someone to remind me I was still human, still capable of connection. That's the headspace I was in when I downloaded that dating app. That's the vulnerability May found and exploited so perfectly. I'd never used a dating app before. The whole concept felt foreign and slightly embarrassing. But the expat I'd met at the coffee shop, a British man named Derek, had suggested it casually one morning. "Mate, you can't just sit in your house every evening. You'll go mad. Download one of those apps. Even if you just chat with people, it's better than nothing." So I did. I downloaded an app called ThaiCupid, filled out a basic profile with a recent photo and a few sentences about myself. Retired Marine Engineer. American. Living in Chiang Mai. Looking for friendship and conversation. I kept it simple and honest. The messages started almost immediately. Dozens of them. Young women in their 20s, clearly looking for financial sponsors. Their messages were formulaic. "Hello, handsome. You are very cute. I want to meet you." I ignored most of them. They felt transactional, insincere. But then I got a message from someone named May. Her profile showed a woman in her early 30s, pretty but not overly made up, wearing a simple dress and standing in front of what looked like a small boutique shop. Her message was different from the others. "Hello. I saw your profile and thought you seemed like an interesting person. I'm not really good at these apps, but I thought I'd say hello. I hope you're enjoying Chiang Mai. It's a beautiful city." I appreciated the lack of flattery, the normal tone. I wrote back, "Thank you. Yes, Chiang Mai is wonderful. I'm still exploring and learning. What do you do here?" Over the next week, we exchanged messages daily. She told me she owned a small fashion boutique in the city center, selling clothes and accessories to locals and tourists. She'd grown up in Lampang, studied business at a local university, and moved to Chiang Mai to start her shop. She asked thoughtful questions about my work as an engineer, about life in America, about why I'd chosen Thailand. She never asked about money, never complimented my appearance excessively, never pushed to meet immediately. Her messages felt genuine, measured, respectful. After 10 days of chatting, she suggested coffee. "If you'd like to meet sometime. I usually have free time in the afternoons. No pressure, of course. I just thought it might be nice to meet in person." We met at a cafe near the old city. I arrived early, nervous in a way I hadn't been since my first date with Catherine decades ago. When May walked in, I recognized her immediately from her photos. She was dressed simply: jeans, a white blouse, minimal makeup. She smiled warmly, but not too eagerly, and shook my hand with a firm, professional grip. "It's nice to meet you, Eddie. Thank you for agreeing to meet." We talked for 2 hours that afternoon. She asked about my wife, and I told her honestly about Catherine, about losing her, about how I was still learning to exist without her. May listened with quiet sympathy, not interrupting, not offering empty platitudes. "I can't imagine how difficult that must be," she said softly. "My father died 3 years ago. It's not the same as losing a spouse, but I understand a little bit about grief, how it stays with you." She told me about her shop, about the challenges of running a small business in Thailand, about her dreams of expanding someday. She spoke about her younger sister who was studying in Bangkok, about her mother who still lived in Lampang. She seemed grounded, normal, real. When we parted that afternoon, She thanked me again for meeting her. "I really enjoyed talking with you. If you'd like to do this again sometime, I'd like that." I would like that, I realized. Very much. Over the next month, May and I met for coffee or lunch 3 or 4 times a week. She'd finish work at her shop around 3 in the afternoon, and we'd spend an hour or two together before she headed home. She lived alone in a small apartment near Nimmenhamen Road, she told me. She'd been single for 2 years after a relationship with a Thai man who'd cheated on her. "Thai men often think women should accept everything quietly," she said one afternoon, echoing a sentiment I'd heard from other Thai women. "I'm not traditional in that way. I think relationships should be equal, but it's hard to find Thai men who agree." I appreciated her openness, her willingness to share difficult parts of her past. I shared more about my own life, my career at sea, my years with Catherine, my reasons for coming to Thailand. May was an excellent listener. She asked follow-up questions, remembered details from previous conversations, made me feel heard and understood. By the 3rd month, our relationship had evolved beyond casual coffee dates. She started inviting me to her apartment for home-cooked meals. She'd prepare simple northern Thai dishes, khao swai, nam prik noom, larb, and we'd eat together while watching movies on her laptop. She insisted I didn't need to bring anything, that she enjoyed cooking for someone. "It's nice to cook for more than just myself," she said. "Living alone, sometimes I don't even bother. I just eat instant noodles." I started bringing small gifts, flowers, a book she'd mentioned wanting to read, good coffee from a roaster I'd discovered. She'd accept them with genuine gratitude, never asking for more, never hinting at larger expectations. She began calling me husband as a term of endearment, the way some Thai women do. "What do you want for dinner tonight, husband? Did you sleep well, husband?" It felt affectionate, not manipulative. I found myself looking forward to hearing it. One evening after we'd finished dinner at her apartment, she came and sat beside me on the couch, resting her head on my shoulder. "I'm really happy I met you, Eddie. You make me feel safe, like I can be myself." I kissed her forehead. "I'm happy too. You've helped me feel alive again." That night, our relationship became physical. It wasn't rushed or awkward. It felt natural, like the logical next step for 2 people who genuinely cared about each other. Afterward, lying in the dark, she traced circles on my chest with her finger. "Can I ask you something?" she said quietly. "Of course. Do you think this is real? What we have? Or am I just a distraction? Someone to help you forget your wife?" I considered the question carefully. "I think it's real. I know I'm still grieving Catherine, and maybe I always will be in some way. But what I feel with you isn't about forgetting her. It's about learning to live again. You help me do that." She kissed my shoulder. I needed to hear that. Thank you. By the 4th month, May was spending most evenings at my house. She'd bring her laptop and work on her boutique social media while I read or worked on woodworking projects. She'd cook dinner. We'd watch documentaries together. On weekends, we'd explore the countryside around Chiang Mai temples, waterfalls, small villages. She met some of the expats I knew casually. They seemed to like her. Derek, the British man who'd suggested the dating app, told me privately that I seemed happier than when he'd first met me. "She seems like a good woman, Eddie. Not like some of the girls you hear about. You're lucky." I believed him. I believed I was lucky. I believed May was different from the stereotypes I'd been warned about. She had her own business. She paid for meals sometimes. She never asked me for money. Until she did. It was late September, 6 months into our relationship, when May first mentioned financial difficulties. We were having dinner at my house, and she seemed distracted, quieter than usual. I asked, what was wrong? "It's nothing," she said, forcing a smile. "Just stress about the shop. Business has been slow lately, but it's okay. I'll figure it out." "How slow?" I asked. She hesitated, then sighed. "The past few months have been difficult. Tourism is down, and locals aren't spending much. My rent is 35,000 baht per month, and some months I barely make enough to cover that and my apartment rent. I'm starting to worry. Have you thought about ways to increase business? Marketing, sales, that sort of thing?" "I've tried, but the problem is I can't afford to buy new inventory. Fashion changes quickly, and customers want new styles. My current stock is getting old. I need to invest in new products, but I don't have the capital." We talked about her business situation at length that evening. She showed me her shop's social media pages, her inventory lists, her basic accounting. It looked legitimate, a small business struggling with cash flow issues. A common problem. How much would you need to restock properly? I asked. Maybe 300,000 baht? That would let me buy a good range of new inventory and hold me through the next few months until business picks up. 300,000 baht, about $8,500. Not an enormous amount, but significant. I'm not asking you for money, she added quickly. I'm just venting. I'll figure something out. Maybe I can get a loan from the bank. But over the next few weeks, the topic kept coming up. She'd mentioned how the bank loan application was rejected, how she was considering closing the shop and finding a job instead, how all her dreams of building a successful business were slipping away. I could see the stress wearing on her. She seemed tired, discouraged. One evening, she broke down crying. I'm sorry, Eddie. I know I shouldn't burden you with this. It's not your problem. I just don't know what to do anymore. I held her while she cried. What if I helped? What if I invested in your business? She pulled back, looking at me with red eyes. What do you mean? What if I provided the capital you need to restock as an investment? You could pay me back once business improves, or we could be partners. I'd like to help. Eddie, no. That's too much. I can't accept that. Why not? I have savings. I believe in you. If I can help you build your business, I want to do that. We discussed it seriously over the next few days. She was hesitant, insisting she didn't want me to feel obligated, but I genuinely wanted to help. I'd spent my career solving technical problems. This was just another problem that needed a solution. And unlike my engineering work, this problem affected someone I cared about. Eventually, she agreed, but only if we did it properly. She'd draw up a business plan, show me exactly where the money would go, provide receipts for everything. She'd treat me as a real business partner, not just a boyfriend giving her money. She spent the next week putting together a detailed proposal. It was impressive. Projected costs, supplier lists, expected profit margins, a timeline for expansion. She'd contacted suppliers and gotten quotes. She'd researched marketing strategies. It looked professional and well thought out. The revised budget was higher than her initial estimate. 2,400,000 baht, about $65,000. It included not just new inventory, but also shop renovations, better displays, a marketing campaign, and operating capital for 6 months. This is the amount that would really make a difference, she explained, walking me through the spreadsheet she'd created. It's a lot, I know. If it's too much, we can scale back. But this would give the shop a real chance to succeed. I looked at the numbers. It was a significant portion of my savings, but not catastrophic. And the plan made sense. If the shop succeeded, I'd recoup the investment. Even if it failed, I could absorb the loss without jeopardizing my retirement. More importantly, I trusted May. She'd never been anything but honest with me. She'd shown me her life, her struggles, her dreams. This wasn't some stranger asking for money. This was my partner, someone I cared about deeply, asking for help to build something real. In early October, I transferred 2,400,000 baht to May's business account. She cried when she confirmed the transfer had gone through, hugging me tightly. I won't let you down, Eddie, I promise. This is going to work. We're going to build something amazing together. I believed her completely. For the first month after the investment, everything seemed perfect. May threw herself into the shop renovations with incredible energy. She sent me photos every day, new paint, new shelving, new lighting. She showed me invoices from suppliers for inventory orders. She posted updates on the shop's social media about the grand reopening coming soon. I visited the shop several times during the renovations. It was transforming from a cramped, dated storefront into something modern and appealing. May introduced me to the workers as her business partner and boyfriend, and they seemed to treat her with respect. Everything appeared legitimate. The grand reopening happened in early November. May threw a small event with refreshments and promotional discounts. Several dozen people attended, friends, regular customers, some local influencers she'd invited. The shop looked beautiful. May looked radiant, proud, happy. I felt proud too. We'd done this together. But by mid-November, I started noticing small inconsistencies. May was often unavailable in the evenings now, claiming she had to work late at the shop. But when I'd offer to bring her dinner or visit, she'd say she was too busy or that she'd already left. Her explanations didn't quite add up. Money started disappearing from my wallet in small amounts. Nothing significant, a few hundred baht here and there, the kind of thing I might have imagined or forgotten about. But it happened often enough that I couldn't ignore it. She started receiving phone calls that she'd take in the other room, speaking in rapid Thai that I couldn't follow. When I'd ask who it was, she'd say supplier or customer or my sister, but her tone seemed evasive. One evening, I stopped by the shop unannounced around 7 in the evening. It was closed, lights off. According to May's schedule, she should have been there working late. When I asked her about it later, she said she'd left early because she felt sick. I wanted to believe her. I wanted to trust that these were just normal business stresses, miscommunications, my own paranoia. But the marine engineer in me, the part trained to identify system failures before they became catastrophic, was starting to see a pattern. In December, I decided to check the business account. May had given me access as a partner, though I'd never looked before, trusting her to manage things. What I saw confused me. The account showed large withdrawals that didn't match the supplier invoices she'd shown me. Money was being transferred to personal accounts I didn't recognize. The amounts didn't align with the business expenses she described. I confronted her gently that evening. May, I looked at the business account today. Some of the transactions don't match what you've shown me. Can you explain? Her face went pale. You're checking up on me? You don't trust me? It's not about trust. We're partners. I should understand where our money is going. She became defensive, then tearful. Some of those transactions were personal loans I had to take to cover cash flow gaps. I was going to pay them back. I didn't want to worry you. What kind of loans? To whom? Friends, family. People who could help when the suppliers needed payment faster than expected. Eddie, running a business is complicated. Not everything is in the books immediately. Her explanation was plausible but felt rehearsed. I let it go, not wanting to fight, but the unease remained. By January, 9 months into our relationship, I was spending more time alone. May was increasingly absent, citing business demands. When we were together, she seemed distracted, irritable. The warmth that had characterized our relationship was fading. One night, unable to sleep, I went through her phone while she was in the shower. I'm not proud of this. I've never been the type to snoop. But the inconsistencies had accumulated to the point where I needed to know. What I found made my stomach drop. Messages to someone saved as P, intimate messages, plans to meet, expressions of love. Photos she'd sent to this person that I'd never seen. References to the American, who was useful but boring. I sat there holding her phone, feeling like the floor had disappeared beneath me. When she came out of the bathroom, I held up the phone. Who is P? The color drained from her face. For a moment, I thought she might deny it. But something in my expression must have told her I already knew. Eddie. I can explain. Who is he? She sat down slowly on the edge of the bed, wrapped in a towel, looking smaller suddenly. His name is Pornpat. We've been together for 4 years. He's my husband. The word hung in the air. Husband. She was married. Had been the entire time I'd known her. You're married, I repeated, my voice hollow. It's complicated. We're not happy. We barely see each other. He knows about you. He knows? The absurdity of it was stunning. You told your husband about me? He doesn't care. Eddie, please. It's not what you think. What we have is real. I do care about you. The money was to help both of us, me and Pornpat. We needed it. You have so much. You thought I was an easy target. I finished quietly. She reached for my hand, but I pulled away. Please don't do this. I can make it right. I can... Get out, I said quietly. Eddie, get out of my house. Now. She dressed quickly, crying, trying to explain, trying to apologize. I sat on the bed, staring at nothing, not responding. When she finally left, the house fell silent, except for the sound of her car driving away. I sat there for hours, processing what had happened. The woman I'd fallen for didn't exist. May Nataporn Kayomani, I'd learned her real name was, had played a role perfectly. Every gesture of affection, every intimate conversation, every moment of apparent vulnerability had been calculated, and I'd fallen for all of it. I'd given her $65,000. I'd trusted her completely. I believed I was building a partnership, a future, maybe even a second chance at love. Most men in my position would have collapsed emotionally. would have booked the next flight back to America, cut their losses, tried to forget the whole humiliating experience. But I'm not most men. I'm a marine engineer. When a system fails, you don't just walk away. You analyze the failure. You document it. You fix it. And May was about to learn that I was very, very good at fixing problems. I didn't sleep that night. Instead, I sat at my dining table with a notebook, my laptop, and every document related to May that I could find. Bank statements, receipts, text messages, photos, business plans, invoices. I began organizing everything chronologically, creating a timeline of our relationship and the flow of money. The marine engineering mindset is fundamentally about systems thinking. You break complex problems into components. You identify points of failure. You document everything methodically. You don't react emotionally, you respond strategically. I approached May's scam the same way I'd approach a failing propulsion system on a cargo ship. First, I needed to understand the full scope of the deception. I started with the business account she'd given me access to. I downloaded every transaction from the day I'd made the investment. Then I cross-referenced those transactions with the invoices and receipts she'd provided. The discrepancies were damning. The supplier invoices she'd shown me were fabricated. The company names on them didn't exist. I verified this by searching Thailand's business registration database. The account numbers receiving the transfers didn't match the supplier's supposed bank accounts. The money I'd invested hadn't gone to inventory or renovations. It had been distributed to multiple personal accounts, most in May's real name, Nataporn Kamini, but also to accounts belonging to people I assumed were accomplices or family members. The shop renovations were real, but they'd cost maybe 300,000 baht, not the 1,200,000 she'd claimed. The rest, over 2 million baht, had simply disappeared into personal use. Next, I cataloged the emotional manipulation tactics. Looking back with clear eyes, I could see the pattern. Month 1. Establish trust through apparent independence and genuineness. Month 2 to 3. Create emotional intimacy through shared vulnerability and affection. Month 4 to 6. Deepen commitment through domestic routines and future planning. Month 6. Introduce financial crisis that only I could solve. Month 7 to 9. Maintain minimal contact while extracting remaining value. Month 10. Disappear once the asset was depleted. It was textbook, and I'd fallen for every single stage. But documentation wasn't enough. I needed to understand who May really was. I needed evidence that would stand up in court or public scrutiny. I hired a private investigator, not one of the expensive international firms those catered to wealthy expats being taken for hundreds of thousands. I found a local Thai investigator named Kun Wichai who specialized in domestic cases. His office was a single room above a motorcycle repair shop, and he charged 15,000 baht for a week's work. "What you want to know?" he asked in broken English when I explained the situation. "Everything. Real name, real address, marital status, other victims if they exist. I want proof of everything she told me that was a lie." He nodded. "This is normal case. Thai woman, foreign man. I do many times. 1 week, I give you everything." He did. 6 days later, Kun Wichai handed me a folder that destroyed any remaining illusions. Nataporn May Kamini was indeed married to Pornpat Kamini, age 33, unemployed. They'd been married for 6 years and had 2 children, ages 5 and 3. They lived in a rented townhouse in the Hangdong district, about 30 minutes from where May had claimed to live alone. The boutique shop was real but wasn't hers. She worked there part-time as a hostess and sales associate. The owner was an older Thai woman who had no knowledge of any business partner or investment. May had no business account in her working name. The account she'd given me access to was a personal account she'd opened, specifically for this scam. Most damning. Kun Wichai had found 3 other foreign men who'd been involved with May over the past 4 years. A German man who'd lost 30,000 euros to a sick mother scam. An Australian who'd invested in a restaurant business that never existed. A British man who'd sent money monthly for rent and living expenses while she lived with her husband the entire time. The investigator had obtained screenshots of May's real Facebook account, not the sanitized version she'd shown me, but her actual account under her married name. Photos of her family. Posts about her children. Check-ins at places she'd told me she'd never been. He'd even managed to get copies of bank statements showing the destination accounts for my money. Some had gone to PornPat, some to her mother, some to accounts associated with luxury purchases, a new car, expensive handbags, gold jewelry. I sat with that folder for hours, reading and rereading every page. This wasn't just betrayal. This was professional fraud. May Nataporn was a career scammer who'd done this multiple times, refined her technique, and targeted lonely foreign men with cold precision. The anger finally came then. Not hot rage, but cold, focused fury. This woman had looked at my grief, my loneliness, my genuine desire for connection, and seen nothing but opportunity. She'd weaponized my vulnerability. She'd performed love so convincingly that I'd believed it completely. Most men would have taken this evidence to the police and hoped for justice through official channels. But I'd talked to enough expats to know how that usually ended. Thai police rarely took these cases seriously. Boyfriend, girlfriend problem, they'd say. Not police business. Even with clear evidence of fraud, foreign men were seen as complicit. They'd given the money willingly, hadn't they? No, the police weren't the answer. Not yet, anyway. I needed a different approach. One that would hit May where it would hurt most: her reputation, her ability to continue scamming, her comfortable life funded by stolen money. I needed to expose her completely. And I needed to do it in a way that she couldn't escape or explain away. So I began planning my trap. I waited 2 weeks after discovering the truth before I contacted May. During that time, I continued gathering evidence, refining my documentation, and preparing for what came next. I also consulted with a lawyer not to file charges yet, but to understand my legal options. Her name was Kun Siraporn, and she ran a small practice specializing in civil cases involving foreigners. She reviewed my evidence carefully. "This is a strong case," she said. "Very clear fraud. In Thai law, this is criminal fraud, taking money under false pretenses. Civil court could also order repayment of full amount plus damages. What are the chances of actually recovering the money?" She tilted her head, considering. "Criminal case? Maybe 50. 50. Depends on judge, depends on her lawyer, depends on many factors. Civil case is better chance, but takes long time. Maybe 1 year, maybe 2. What about public exposure? If I posted the evidence online, in expat forums, social media, is that legal? If everything you post is true with proof, yes, is legal, is free speech. She could try to sue for defamation, but if you have evidence, she cannot win. In fact, public exposure often works better than court. Thai people care very much about reputation, about face. If she becomes known as scammer, her life becomes very difficult. That confirmed what I'd suspected. The most effective punishment wouldn't come from the justice system. It would come from destroying her ability to continue scamming and exposing her to everyone in her life. But I wanted more than just exposure. I wanted a confession. I wanted her to admit on record what she'd done. That would make the evidence irrefutable. So I crafted a message, carefully worded to appeal to her assumed confidence that I was still a broken, desperate mark. "May, I know you're probably surprised to hear from me. The past 2 weeks have been very difficult. I've been angry, hurt, confused, but I've had time to think. And I don't want things to end like this. I still care about you. I know the situation with your husband is complicated. I know you probably felt trapped and did things you regret. But I think we can work through this if we're honest with each other. Can we meet? Just to talk? I'm not angry anymore. I just want to understand." I sent it on a Tuesday morning. She responded within 2 hours. "Eddie, I've been so worried about you. I'm so sorry for everything. Yes, let's meet. I want to explain everything properly. I miss you." Hook set. We arranged to meet at a quiet cafe in Mayram, away from areas where she might be recognized. I chose a table in the corner, positioned so that my phone, propped against the sugar container, had a clear view and audio of both of us. I started the recording before she arrived. She walked in looking nervous but hopeful. She dressed carefully, modest, apologetic. She sat down and immediately reached for my hand. "Eddie, thank you for giving me this chance. I've been so miserable without you." I played my part. I've been miserable too. But I need to understand what happened. The truth, May. All of it. She nodded, tears already forming. "I know. You deserve that. Over the next hour, I gently extracted confession after confession. I didn't accuse. I just asked questions, playing the heartbroken lover trying to make sense of things. The business account, the money I invested. Where did it really go? She hesitated then. Some went to the shop, but most went to help my family, my husband's family. We had debts, Eddie, serious debts. I didn't know how else to handle it. The sick mother story you mentioned once, was that real? No, she admitted quietly. I'm sorry. I needed money, and I thought you'd want to help. The boutique, is it really yours? No, I worked there, but I wanted you to think I was successful, independent. I thought you wouldn't want me otherwise. And your husband? Does he know about me? Yes, he knows. We've done this before, with other men. It's how we survive. There it was. Clear admission of deliberate, repeated fraud. I kept my expression neutral, sympathetic even, while my phone recorded every word. Do you actually have children? I asked. She looked down. Yes, 2. A daughter and a son. They live with me in Pornpat. So, when you stayed at my house, when you called me husband, when we were together, none of it was real? Some of it was real, she insisted. I did like you, Eddie. You were kind to me, kinder than any man has been. But I needed the money more. I'm sorry. I'm truly sorry. I let the silence hang for a moment. Then I pulled out the manila envelope I'd brought and placed it on the table between us. May, I need you to look at something. She opened it slowly. Inside were printouts, photos of her real family, bank statements showing where my money had gone, screenshots of messages with other victims, investigator reports. The color drained from her face as she flipped through the pages. What is this? She whispered. It's the truth, I said quietly. All of it. Everything you've been lying about for 10 months. She looked up at me, and for the first time, I saw fear replace the practiced sadness. Eddie, you thought I was an easy target, I continued, my voice calm. A lonely old American too stupid and desperate to notice what you were doing. You thought you could take my money and disappear, and I'd be too embarrassed to do anything about it. Please, you were wrong. I pointed to the phone recording us. Everything you just said is recorded. Everything in that folder is documented and verified. And now you're going to learn what happens when you underestimate someone. She started crying, then real tears this time, not the performed ones. What are you going to do? That depends on you, I said. You have 2 choices. Choice 1. I go to the police tomorrow with all of this evidence. You'll be charged with fraud. You'll go through the court system. Your husband will likely be charged as an accomplice. Your family will find out. Your employer will find out. Everyone will know. She was shaking now. Please don't. Please, I have children. Choice 2, I continued. You cooperate with me. You provide documentation of every account, every person involved in this scam. You return whatever money you still have access to. You sign a legal confession admitting what you did, and you make a video statement explaining your scam, which I will distribute to warn other men. And if I do this, you won't go to the police? I'll consider not going to the police. But the video will be public. Your scam will be exposed. You won't be able to do this to anyone else. She sat there trembling, trapped. Everything she'd built, her comfortable life funded by stolen money, her ability to continue scamming, her carefully constructed lies was collapsing. I don't have much money left, she finally said. Maybe 400,000 baht. The rest is spent. Then I'll take the 400,000, plus whatever assets were purchased with my money. Bank accounts will be traced and frozen, and you'll do the video. Today, she nodded miserably, defeated. I'd won, but I wasn't done yet. May provided everything I asked for. The video statement, the bank details, the names of her accomplices, the admission of previous victims. She did it all mechanically, numbly, the survival instinct overriding her pride. I recorded the video myself, in that same cafe. She sat in front of my phone's camera and recited the statement I'd written. My name is Nataporn Kalmani. I've been using the name May to scam foreign men on dating apps. Over the past 4 years, I have taken money from at least 4 men by pretending to have a business, pretending to have family emergencies, and pretending to be single when I am married with children. I targeted lonely men who trusted me. I manipulated their emotions to steal their money. I am making this statement as a warning to others and as my confession of what I've done." She was crying throughout. When she finished, she looked at me with something like hatred. "Are you satisfied now?" "Not yet," I said. I took the video, the confession document she'd signed, and all the additional evidence to Kun Siraporn the next day. "I want to file both criminal and civil charges, and I want to prepare this material for public distribution." "You are sure?" the lawyer asked. "Once you do this, you cannot undo it. Her life will be destroyed." "She destroyed herself," I said. "I'm just documenting it." The criminal complaint was filed first. With May's signed confession and the recorded admissions, the police couldn't dismiss it as a boyfriend-girlfriend problem. This was documented fraud, with multiple victims, with evidence of systematic deception. The civil case followed, claiming return of 2,400,000 baht plus legal fees and damages. But the public exposure was the real weapon. I created a detailed document outlining the entire scam. I included the timeline of our relationship, copies of the fake invoices and business plans, bank statements showing where the money really went, screenshots of May's real social media showing her actual family, the investigator's report, testimonies from the other victims who'd agreed to come forward, May's video confession. I posted it everywhere. Thai Visa Forum, Reddit's Thailand expat communities, multiple Facebook groups for foreigners living in Thailand, Chiang Mai-specific expat forums, dating app safety groups. I didn't editorialize. I didn't rant. I just presented the facts, methodically, with evidence for every claim. The headline was simple: "Romance Scam in Chiang Mai, Nataporn May, Kamini, Full Evidence and Confession." The response was immediate and overwhelming. Within 12 hours, the post had been shared hundreds of times. Other men came forward with similar experiences, not just with May, but with related scammers. Thai nationals expressed embarrassment and anger that foreigners were being treated this way. People who'd known May socially began commenting, shocked to learn about her double life. Someone found her real Facebook account and linked it. Her friends and family began seeing the posts. Her husband's family saw it. Her employer saw it. May called me 2 days after the exposure, hysterical. "You destroyed my life. My family disowned me. My husband's family is threatening him. I lost my job. Everyone knows." "Why would you do this?" "You asked me that before," I said calmly. "Because you thought kindness was weakness. You thought I'd be too ashamed or too broken to fight back. You made a mistake. I gave you the money back. I made the confession. You promised you wouldn't." "I promised I'd consider not going to the police. I didn't promise anything about public exposure. You confessed to fraud. I documented it. I shared the truth. That's not revenge, that's warning others about what you do." She was crying again. Please take it down. I'm sorry. I'll leave Thailand. I'll never do this again. Please." "No," I said simply. "You had 10 months to do the right thing. You chose to lie, to steal, to manipulate. Now you face the consequences. Goodbye, May." I blocked her number. Over the next few weeks, the consequences multiplied. The boutique shop owner fired May immediately upon learning about the scam. May's husband's family, embarrassed by the public exposure, pressured him to divorce her. Unable to find work and facing social ostracism, May and her family moved to Bangkok, trying to escape the reputation that followed her in Chiang Mai. The court cases moved forward. In the criminal case, May pleaded guilty, hoping for leniency. She received a suspended sentence, no jail time, but a criminal record and probation. In the civil case, judgment was rendered quickly given her confession. Full restitution of 2,400,000 baht, plus 150,000 in legal fees and damages. Of course, she didn't have that money. What she did have was seized. Bank accounts frozen. The car purchased with my money sold. Gold jewelry confiscated. Total recovered: 630,000 baht, about $17,000. Her family, horrified by the shame brought on them, contributed another 200,000 baht to settle the case. May's mother sold land in Lampang. Her husband's family pooled resources to make the rest of the immediate debt go away. Total recovered by June: approximately 1,100,000 baht, about $30,000. Not the full amount, but significant. More importantly, May's ability to scam anyone else was gone. Her face, her real name, her tactics were documented across every expat forum. Dating app administrators were alerted. Other potential victims were warned. The other victims I'd helped identify filed their own cases. The German man recovered about 40% of his loss. The Australian recovered nothing, but felt vindicated by May's exposure. The British man declined to pursue legal action, but thanked me for revealing the truth. I moved from Chiang Mai to Hua Hin in July, not because I was running away, but because I wanted a fresh start somewhere, quieter, closer to the ocean. I found a small house near the beach, established new routines, began rebuilding my life again. The emotional recovery took longer than the legal battles. I'd been violated in a profound way, my grief weaponized, my loneliness exploited, my trust betrayed. For months, I couldn't imagine ever trusting anyone again. But slowly, gradually, I began to heal. I started attending an expat meetup group in Hua Hin, cautiously making friends. I started dating again much more carefully this time, with firm boundaries and watchful eyes. I learned to separate genuine connection from manipulation. Other expats started reaching out to me, men who'd been scammed or feared they were being scammed. They'd found my story online and wanted advice. I began helping them document their cases, connecting them with investigators and lawyers, teaching them how to protect themselves. It became an unofficial mission. I created a detailed guide on recognizing romance scams in Thailand, which I shared freely online. I participated in expat forum discussions, offering practical advice based on my experience. I became known in certain circles as the guy who fought back successfully, who showed that justice was possible even when the system seemed stacked against you. People asked if I regretted coming to Thailand, if the experience had ruined the country for me. It hadn't. Thailand didn't scam me, May did. The country remained beautiful, complex, full of genuine people alongside the predators. I just learned to distinguish between them. People asked if I regretted exposing May so thoroughly, if I felt guilty about the consequences she faced. I didn't. She made her choices. She chose to target vulnerable men. She chose to lie systematically. She chose to steal. The consequences weren't my doing, they were hers. What she faced wasn't revenge. It was accountability. There's a difference. Forgiveness is complicated. I don't hate May anymore. I don't think about her often. But I haven't forgiven her either, not in the sense of absolving her of responsibility. She did what she did, I responded proportionally. That's not forgiveness or revenge, it's balance. Catherine used to tell me that the best response to cruelty isn't more cruelty, it's clarity. Truth spoken plainly. Consequences allowed to unfold naturally. I think she'd approve of how I handled May. I documented the truth, presented it clearly, and let May's own actions determine her fate. I still live in Hua Hin. I'm still retired, still finding ways to fill my days. I have a small woodworking business now, custom furniture for expats and wealthy Thais. It gives me purpose without the pressure of needing the income. I've made genuine friends here. I'm dating someone, a Thai woman named Noi, who's a retired teacher, widowed like me, with grown children and grandchildren. We take things slowly. We're honest with each other. We maintain separate finances. We build trust carefully, brick by brick. I think about May sometimes, usually when another expat contacts me about a suspected scam. I wonder if she learned anything, if she's still running cons elsewhere, if her children will ever know what their mother did. But these thoughts don't consume me. They're just data points, part of the experience that shaped my understanding of human nature. The experience taught me that vulnerability isn't weakness, but it requires wisdom. That trust should be earned, not granted freely. That kindness should be given, but not to the point of self-destruction. That sometimes the most loving thing you can do is protect others from predators, even if the method seems harsh. I learned that I'm stronger than I thought, that losing Catherine hadn't broken me permanently. I could still fight, still think clearly, still protect myself when necessary. That I could channel grief into action, pain into purpose. Most importantly, I learned that justice doesn't always come from the system. Sometimes it comes from simply refusing to be silent, refusing to let predators operate in darkness, refusing to be the easy victim they assumed you'd be. I'm writing this from my porch in Hua Hin, watching the sunset over the Gulf of Thailand. It's been almost 2 years since I met May, 18 months since I exposed her, a year since I moved here and started rebuilding my life. The men who contact me now and there are many, usually ask the same questions. How did you not see it coming? How did you find the strength to fight back? How did you move forward after everything? The answers are simpler than they expect. I didn't see it coming because I wanted to believe I'd found connection again after Catherine died. May was excellent at her craft. She didn't make obvious mistakes. She played the long game perfectly. If I'd been less lonely, less grieving, less isolated, I might have seen through her, but I wasn't. I was the perfect mark at the perfect moment. I found the strength to fight back because I refused to accept that being kind made me stupid, that being vulnerable made me deserve what happened. May had calculated that I'd be too embarrassed to expose her. She was wrong. I felt no shame in being betrayed, only determination to make sure she couldn't do it again. I moved forward by choosing to help others instead of hiding, by turning my humiliation into education, by refusing to let one predator destroy my faith in humanity or my ability to connect with others. The guide I created for recognizing romance scams has been downloaded thousands of times. The advice I give in forums has helped dozens of men avoid similar situations or document their cases effectively. The lawyer and investigator I worked with now have steady business from expats I've referred. Something good came from the damage May caused. People sometimes tell me I'm brave. I'm not. I'm just methodical. I approached the scam the way I approached every engineering problem in my career. Identify the failure, document it, fix it, prevent recurrence. There was nothing brave about it. It was just applied logic. What I want people to understand is this: being scammed doesn't make you stupid. It makes you human. Predators like May are professionals. They study psychology. They practice their craft. They target people at vulnerable moments. Falling for their manipulations isn't a character flaw. It's a testament to your capacity for trust and connection. But recovering from being scammed requires choosing action over shame. It requires documenting everything, seeking help, refusing to suffer in silence. It requires understanding that exposing predators isn't revenge, it's protection for the next person. I still believe in love. I still believe in trust. I still believe in human connection. But I believe in them with wisdom now, with boundaries, with the understanding that trust must be earned through consistency, not granted through hope. May thought she'd found an easy target, a lonely, grieving old man who'd give her money and disappear quietly when she was done with him. She was half right. I was lonely and grieving, but I was also a marine engineer with 4 decades of experience solving complex problems. And she became the problem I solved most thoroughly. If you're reading this because you suspect you're being scammed or because you've already been victimized, understand this: you have more power than you think. Document everything. Seek professional help. Investigators, lawyers, support groups. Don't let shame silence you. Don't let predators operate in darkness. The best revenge isn't anger or violence, it's clarity. Truth told plainly. Consequences allowed to unfold naturally. Light shined on dark places. May thought kindness was weakness. She learned it was her mistake. If this story resonated with you, or if you know someone who might benefit from hearing it, please subscribe to this channel and share this video. These stories take significant time and research to produce, and your support helps me continue creating educational content despite my full-time commitments. Stay safe, stay vigilant, and remember, trust, but verify. Always verify.